So this one's going to be interesting. It's a baked apple pudding from, let's say, 1794. Maximilian Hazlemore with his domestic economy. This one's going to be good. Thanks for joining us today. So this recipe in the cookbook is called a baked apple pudding. But if I was going to put it in today's parlance, we would probably call it a apple custard pie. Maybe that would be a better term that we would understand. And really, there's some kind of interesting things in it. One of the strange things is the amount of butter. This thing's got a massive quantity of butter in it. We didn't think it was going to work out, but I think it actually seems to work out pretty good. First up for ingredients, we've got the flesh of 2 large apples. This has already been peeled and cored and then chopped up. The next ingredient we've got here is lemons. This calls for the rind of 2 lemons that have been shredded. So we're going to talk about that, how these work out a little bit later. We've got sugar. We've got a whole cup of sugar. We've got 6 eggs. You're going to need 6 eggs here, and the butter. We've got a full 8 ounces of butter. More butter. So let's talk about the lemon part of this. Now remember this, as ingredients, it called for the rind of 2 lemons. And then the instructions are pretty specific. You're supposed to, take off the rind and then shred it. And then he calls for boiling this rind in water, changing the water twice. Now, we did that, and what we're left, if you boil this and change the water twice, is there's very little sort of flavor here. It's very, very, very mild. And I'm actually wondering whether in the time period, the lemons that they had were either bitter lemons or lemons with much stronger flavor inside the rind than, say, lemons today. Because this is too much. Changing the water twice for this lemon rind just drives every little bit out. Now, he probably had us boil this rind to not turn this into a lemon pie. Because if we just, put the zest straight in, that's going to probably bring in too much flavor. So maybe with modern lemons to kind of strike somewhere in the middle, maybe we should take these shredded lemon rind and maybe boil them just bring them into, simmer them just up to boiling and then stop. Don't change the water twice, or there's just not enough lemon left. So very first step, we got to get these apples all soft. So let's put them in boiling water. We're going to boil these up for about 25 minutes to get these really soft. Okay, these apples are ready. And we've already strained the water out of them. We want to mash these up. We want to get them nice and fine. Okay, so these look good and mashed up, and in goes the butter. And we're going to put in the entire quantity of butter here, a whole 8 ounces. I'm just going to use the masher to kind of mix it in here. Now we've got our 6 eggs. Let's get these cracked open. These are whole eggs. We don't have to worry about separating them. There are 6 eggs, and we're just going to get these whisked up. Now it's time for our cup of sugar, and whisk it in to our eggs. And in goes the rind of shredded up of our lemons. They might kind of clump up on you, but try to keep them separate. Basically, we've got all the ingredients together. Now all we have to do is put our eggs with our apples. Now again, these have cooled down enough so they're not going to be cooking our eggs. And we're just going to bring all these 2 things together. And this does sort of remind us about the Amelia Simmons pumpkin pie recipe or pumpkin pudding recipe, where it was so liquidy. We just kind of poured it into the pie pan. We thought it would never solidify up, but it turned out just fine. This one, again, is a very loose mixture, but it's all mixed up here. Really, the only thing it's missing is nutmeg. But he didn't have it in the recipe, so I guess we're going to skip that. Our mixture is ready to go into our pie here, or a pie plate. And we just got a standard short paste in here for the pie. Very, very simple. And we can just pour our mixture in almost right up to the top of our pie plate. Looks really good. This is going to go into the oven at 350 degrees for maybe 45 minutes or so, or until the top looks nice and golden brown. And make sure you use a cookie sheet or a pan underneath. You don't want this, bubbling out and smoking up your oven and in your kitchen. Here's our baked apple pudding, Maximilian Hazlemore. It looks tremendous. It turned out really well. The question is, what does this really taste like? Whoa, Fabulous flavors. And really nice and sweet. Definitely that custardy, texture really fills in on this. Gives us, and we get that sort of lemon overtone at the very end, or lemon flavor at the very end. And this was the lemon that we used in this particular pie was the one that we did the double boiling on. And remember, I talked about maybe not doing that as much. I think I'm going to go back on that and actually say go ahead and follow the directions and change the water twice, because here I thought we were going to lose all that lemon flavor, but I think it actually came back when it was baked in the pie. And it's a subtle note there that doesn't overpower this pie. It doesn't turn it into a lemon pie, definitely. Even with that double boiling, but the lemon note is still there at the end, and it gives it a little bit of crispness that it might not have otherwise. So I am definitely going to suggest you follow these directions exactly like it said. Forget what I said earlier. The taste is wonderful. The texture is really good, and it's a beautiful looking pie right here from the late 18th century. Again, one of these that you really have to try. One of these recipes right out of time. We're just pulling it right, 220 years later, still excellent. So give this one a try. Definitely in your kitchen at home or in your historical kitchen, this one is a good one. So I really want to thank you for coming along as we experimented on this one, as we're trying these things out. Sometimes you never know how they're going to turn out. So thanks for coming along as we savor the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century.